Welcome to the Africa Tech Kin right here on ZiFM Stereo, my station, your weekly guide to technology and opportunity in Zimbabwe and beyond. I'm your host, DannythatGuy, and you can catch this show every Tuesday straight after the news at 7 p.m. right here on ZiFM Stereo's Current Affairs. We were off last week because of the holiday, but we're back, and this week there's a lot to talk about. We're going to do a deep dive on a change that will affect almost every single person with a bank account or a business here in Zimbabwe. The tax man has gone digital again. We're going to talk about ZIMRA's massive upgrade to their new TaRMS system that happened this week. We're also going to look at the bigger picture. What is the plan to get every Zimbabwean on board with digitalization of the country? Not just online, but digitally skilled. We're going to talk about that and Potraz's national digital inclusion strategy. Finally, a story that's taking over the globe when it comes to technology. We're talking about ChatGPT-5 that launched last week. We've had over a week with it now, and we'll be able to give you some takes about what ChatGPT-5 is. Is it the revolution we were promised? We're cutting through all the hype to find the truth about ChatGPT. So there's plenty to get through right here on ZiFM Stereo's Africa Tech Kin. You can be part of the show simply by sending through a WhatsApp message to the number 0772-168-045, or you can use the hashtag Africa Tech Kin on your social media platform of choice. You can also watch this show, by the way, so there's several points where we refer to things that you might be able to see on the screen. So if you're listening to this live on radio, then make sure you go look for it as well on YouTube, or make sure you follow ZiFM Stereo across all the platforms so you can follow along with the conversation. Let's get started, shall we? Our lead story this week. It's one that you really can't ignore. After months of anticipation, the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, ZIMRA, has officially commissioned their new and improved Tax and Revenue Management System, or TaRMS, as it is called. This was done at an event on Monday this week, and we were able to get the stream from that event, courtesy of Mighty Movies here from AB Communications. But what is the story with this TaRMS, or Tax and Revenue Management System? Well, in simple terms, it's a brand new online-first platform that's designed to replace the old, often clunky online system that existed for ZIMRA. It combines domestic taxes and customs into one single modern portal, and they did the official commissioning at this event on Monday. Now, don't let me be the one to speak about it. Speaking directly from that event about the mechanics of how it works, I want to play a short clip from the launch event. This was ZIMRA's Director of ICT, Mr. Shami Moyo, who's explaining the core idea of this new TaRMS system. Take a listen.
So what we had before TaRMS was a non-tanky system. A system that had two major components, what we call the back-end solution, or the back-end component, and the front-end component. We also had business-related issues. People would pay, but because we didn't have integrations with most of the key areas of the business or of the nation, like banks, you would have a payment that is submitted at the bank without adequate information. When we want to post it at the back end, we are unable to properly classify and so on. We call those unclassified payments. But with TaRMS, this has been addressed. This new TaRMS that we are coming here for is a tanky solution, which means it covers both the back end and the front end. It is based on modern non-proprietary tools, which means we can now use the best that is in the market without being cornered to any specific technologies or supplier. Above all, we have the source code. This is very critical because we have the source code, we can then make our further developments as Zimbabwe without being constrained or over-reliant on any other person. In a nutshell, we have started a journey that will allow us to be able to be a pivotal and critical core in national development. We will interface with other players, and integration is our key area.
So, as you heard, this new TaRMS system is all about integration. It's about self-service. The goal is that you, whether as an individual or a small business owner or even a bigger business, you can log in from anywhere, manage your tax affairs, file returns, make payments without ever having to set foot within a ZIMRA, or rather within a ZIMRA office. For businesses, well, this means moving away from manual processes. For individuals, making things like your tax clearance certificates. You can do that online, quicker to obtain. Businesses must use that TaRMS portal for VAT, PAYE, income tax, all those different things. File returns, make payments, apply for tax clearance certificates. This should speed up things for many businesses that obviously have to deal with ZIMRA on a regular basis. Even for individuals who have to worry about how they're going to do their taxes or how taxes are applied to them, they also can access their own tax profile through this TaRMS system. Now, this system was developed together with a Chinese firm called Inspur Group. And the idea is that it's not just convenience, but the government sees this as a key step, a key tool in boosting revenue collection. The guest of honor at this event on Monday was the Deputy Minister of Finance, Kudakwashe David Mnangagwa. He spoke from the launch. Take a listen to what he said.
Specifically, TaRMS will streamline tax processes, including registration, payment, and real-time monitoring of taxpayer accounts, reduce opportunities for tax evasion and avoidance through real-time audits, enable data-driven policy decisions by government's ability to track and analyze revenues, and enhance taxpayer service delivery through digital channels, reducing costs, saving time, and making compliance simpler and more transparent. Ultimately, TaRMS will help reduce revenue leakages, widen the tax base, improve compliance, and provide clear, faster, and more efficient processes for both government and taxpayers. The true measure of TaRMS will not be today's launch, but the impact it delivers in improving taxpayer services, strengthening public trust, and supporting sustainable economic growth. I therefore call upon all taxpayers, businesses, and citizens to embrace this system fully, to use it, provide constructive feedback, and together help build a Zimbabwe where public resources are mobilized and managed with integrity.
The viewpoint of the government as to the new TaRMS system and what the expectations are from ZIMRA as the country's taxman. To prove that this wasn't all talk, one of the highlights, I think, from the event was a live demonstration of this system at work. So they encouraged the guest of honor there, the Deputy Minister of Finance, Kudakwashe David Mnangagwa, to actually open up the TaRMS portal live for everyone to see. Now, we're going to play the audio for this on radio, of course, but if you're watching this on YouTube or you're going to be following us on social media, you'll actually see a demonstration of how this live demo was done by the guest of honor at this event. So take a listen to how it panned out.
Our Honorable Deputy Minister is a registered taxpayer. So as part of the commissioning process, he is going to show us him logging into the self-service portal. Okay, there is the TaRMS screen coming up.
I did actually register for TaRMS. They did not register for me. And it took me less than 2 minutes. It's important that the citizens know that the user experience is seamless. In under 2 minutes, I was fully registered, all my details, all my credentials, and what we're now going through is how you maneuver through the system. Am I correct? For the benefit of non-registered taxpayers.
I think so that people just see just one small part to see that the Deputy Minister does not owe us. He will show that just that part. Okay.
So look, excitement is high over this new system. ZIMRA is on a high right now after having launched this system. And as the show that's been paying attention to the different digitalization aspects of the country and which arms of government and public sectors, or rather the public sector, are out there introducing technological and digital systems, this is clearly a big deal. And the promise of this is huge. The idea is efficiency, transparency, a wider base from which to collect tax. But of course, just with anything else that happens with technical issues, there might be potential hurdles. There might be some teething issues. It's a large-scale IT project, so we can expect that there might be some bugs. Perhaps there'll be some downtime. These things are real possibilities. But On the whole, we hope to see a robust system, a system that works, that isn't down very often, and one that allows people to really improve the efficiency of paying taxes. We all have a duty to pay taxes, and ultimately, it's something you're going to have to deal with whether you own a business or you work for a business. So hopefully this new system will mean new things for the country when it comes to taxes. Of course, this is a massive step for the country, a huge step for ZIMRA as well, and really will affect many people in the country. And we'll be paying close attention to the road ahead as this system is implemented and more people use it. As the country digitizes, as more and more businesses, the public sector and the government itself actually introduce these technological and digital tools, as the self-appointed ombudsman that pay attention to the digitalization of the country, well, we'll be paying attention, but it does lead to questions. Because we know that there are large swathes of the country that are still in areas of poor connectivity, or perhaps do not have a clear understanding or opportunity to use some of these technological systems. What is the plan for digital inclusion? I'm glad you asked. We're going to take that up straight after this break as we take a look at the new TaRMS plan for digital inclusion that we're going to talk about straight after this. Welcome back to the Africa Tech Kin. I'm your host, DannythatGuy, right here on ZiFM Stereo. The show comes to you every Tuesday, straight after the news at 7 p.m. And we talk about all things technology in Zimbabwe and globally. And if you have a smart mind, this is your opportunity to find out where investment opportunities lie. Now, we've just spoken about this huge news that came out this week about the commissioning of the new ZIMRA TaRMS, or Tax and Revenue Management System, and how much of a big deal was made about this new technological development in Zimbabwe's taxman. But we raised the question afterwards and we said, this is great. We are so happy to see the public sector and government departments that are introducing these digital tools and taking us forward into the digital age. But what about huge parts of the country that may be in areas of poor connectivity or perhaps are not yet plugged in digitally and need to learn a lot of things? Well, this last week, ZIMRA was at an event that was the National Digital Literacy and Digital Skills Assessment Survey Dissemination Workshop that was done out in Harare. And at this workshop, ZIMRA outlined what their plan was for digital inclusion. And I think we can all understand just how critical the idea of internet access is and digital skills, because it's not just enough to have internet access in certain places. People also need to learn how to use those tools that are now available to them. Well, many TaRMS executives, including the Deputy Director General and several executives, outlined the plan that TaRMS has for digital inclusion across the country. I'm going to summarize it, and we expect, of course, in the coming weeks that we're going to talk more about it. But as a summary, the core strategy is based on three pillars. Firstly, infrastructure. The idea is the pipes. Putting out the fiber, the internet, shared mobile network towers, and so on in rural areas. There's something called community information centers. This has been established in many places over the past few years. In fact, over 200 of them exist in some of these sometimes difficult to reach areas. And this is giving many different communities opportunities to use the internet for free and to learn the digital skills that are needed for those spaces. So that's the first step, infrastructure. The second is education. Can't have the infrastructure without people understanding how things work. So TaRMS indicated that they're running programs to train people from students to senior citizens in many of these rural areas on how to use the digital tools. And the goal obviously is to build digital skill competency and include as many people as possible in the revolution that is digital. And then finally, to encourage innovation in these different spaces. The people who live in these perhaps remote areas or spaces where there isn't a lot of internet access or there hasn't been over the years, those people are the ones who will innovate and create the solutions for their spaces. So TaRMS indicated a desire to create an environment where local developers, local entrepreneurs can build solutions for local problems. Now, in itself, this sounds like a solid plan. TaRMS has a solid plan for digital inclusion. Those three steps: number one, infrastructure; number two, education; number three, innovation. Now, I did reach out to TaRMS. Hopefully, we'll be speaking to them soon about this plan, and I would love for us to unpack it more on this particular show. But of course, I would also love to know what it feels like on the ground. So if you're listening to this live on radio, now's your opportunity to get in touch. That's on 0772-168-045. Or if you're watching this live right now on YouTube, we would love to hear your thoughts. Have you actually been to one of these community information centers? Have you used the facilities there? What's the situation with the internet in these different spaces? Is the cost of data a barrier to you wherever you are? Do you find yourself limiting the amount of internet you use because of the cost of data? What are you seeing in your community when it comes to the introduction of the infrastructure and education of these digital skills that we're talking about? Well, the idea is we want to build a foundation for the economy, and we know that the future, in fact, the present, is digital. So we are happy to see that there are plans in place for digital inclusion, but of course we want to see the implementation of said plans. The opportunities are there, by the way, for those of you with innovative minds on creating the solutions for these different communities. If you're able to build the services, the platforms, and the solutions, then perhaps you might be the next Bill Gates of Zimbabwe. How about that? All right. Let's talk about our final story. And you can't talk technology anywhere in the world without including AI. The absolute cutting edge of global technology was released over a week ago now. So we've had it for over a week. And I'm talking about potentially the most talked about technology in recent memory, OpenAI's ChatGPT. Now, OpenAI announced ChatGPT-5, and it was a somewhat sudden announcement. People were expecting that the next iteration of ChatGPT would be the one. They call it AGI. Was it? Well, the hype leading up to the launch was pretty immense. I mean, there were rumors of the idea of AGI, by the way, is artificial general intelligence. The idea that machines are actually able to think and reason and understand the same way that humans do. By the way, the definitions of AGI is a whole other conversation that we do not have the time or scope on this particular show. But just be aware that all the experts in this field have not all agreed on exact definitions of how would you then define that an artificial intelligence tool is as intelligent or as understanding or as reasoning as a human. But suffice it to say that the general consensus is at the moment, AGI does not yet exist. Some people believe it will never exist. Well, the point is, ChatGPT-5 was launched last week. It is by no means the only tool, but it seems to be the one that most people are talking about. And what are the facts on the ground? Now that we've used it, I've used it a lot over the past week and a half. I can let you know that ChatGPT-5 is without a doubt a huge improvement on GPT-4. It's much faster, more accurate, has a better understanding of complex multi-step instructions. It can analyze data, video, audio, text in a much better way, and it can even generate pictures, rather. I did some comparisons of GPT-5 to Gemini and some other tools, and I must say I was quite impressed with ChatGPT-5. But ChatGPT-5 is not magic. This is the most important part of the story, and I hope I'll be able to impress this upon all our listeners and all our viewers. You see, the makers of these tools and the companies behind them, they have to market these tools. So obviously they're going to create big hype about the tools. And the problem is this hype creates expectations that are unrealistic. They perhaps make people assume that these tools can think.
GPT-5 is a major upgrade over GPT-4 and a significant step along our path to AGI. With GPT-4, maybe it was like talking to a college student. Real intelligence, real utility. But with GPT-5, now it's like talking to an expert, a legitimate PhD level expert in anything, any area you need, on demand, that can help you with whatever your goals are. This is an incredible superpower on demand that would have been unimaginable at any previous time in history. You get access to an entire team of PhD level experts in your pocket, helping you with whatever you want to do.
LLM tools can't think. LLM, by the way, stands for large language models, and that's what ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity and Claude and all these other tools are. They're large language models. In essence, they're incredibly advanced prediction engines. They are not thinking and reasoning. What has happened is they have analyzed trillions and trillions of data points from the internet that they've collected. That's what they mean when they say training the AI tools. And they are statistically really good at predicting the next word or the next most logical piece of information that must come out in a sentence. So it's not thinking, it's predicting. Think of it as incredibly advanced autocorrect. Some people might disagree with that, but I think it's an apt description. So we're looking at pattern recognition. That's what it is. It's not a thinking, reasoning being. Now, if we knew that from the get-go and it wasn't presented to us as a PhD in your pocket or an incredibly smart person in your pocket, if it wasn't presented to us in that way, then perhaps we would see it for what it is, an incredibly powerful tool that could transform your business, transform your life, transform the steps that you take in your day-to-day activities. Unfortunately, Many of us have been caught up in the hype and we get a little bit disappointed because now we're imagining some kind of futuristic sci-fi intelligent person that can think and reason on its own. Or perhaps it's something to be afraid of. Perhaps it's the next Skynet from the Terminator. That's not at all what these LLM tools are. So the real opportunity for Zimbabwe at this point, and really for the world, but I'm of course speaking to primarily a Zimbabwean audience, is if you recognize these incredibly powerful tools, these LLM tools that have been developed by companies with huge resources at their disposal, and if you're able to recognize what they can do and what they can't do, then you can use them to be able to get ahead. Perhaps you're a small business that wants assistance in writing copy, or assistance in developing systems for your organization. These tools are incredibly good at doing that. Is it a friend to speak to? Well, it might be able to give some advice, but recognizing that it's not something that thinks and reasons, but rather something that predicts the next logical word helps you understand just how good a tool it can be and what it can't do. So really, the lesson here is ChatGPT-5 is an incredible jump forward in technology. It's not magic. It's not incredible science fiction, but it is a powerful tool that, if used correctly, could make a difference in your life, in your work, in your business. So the idea is not to be a servant to the hype, but cut through, see what's happening and what it is. We expect that the competing brands such as Facebook's Meta AI, as well as other competing brands like Google's Gemini, will also be releasing their own advanced versions of their tools to keep pace with OpenAI's ChatGPT-5. That's our show for today. That's the time that we have for this week. We had 3 big takeaways, isn't it? First of all, tax in Zimbabwe is changing. It's now a digital first affair with the launch of the new and upgraded TaRMS, or Tax and Revenue Management System, courtesy of ZIMRA. And that looks to be the new standard for businesses going forward. We also spoke about the push for universal digital inclusion here in the country as being pushed by POTRAZ, or the Post Office and Telecommunications Regulations Authority of Zimbabwe. Keep an eye on opportunities in that space because there's so much room for innovations in trying to introduce inclusion in the country. And then finally, we analyzed and spoke a little bit about the hype surrounding ChatGPT-5, an incredibly powerful tool that you can do amazing things with, but not magic, not a person, and not artificial general intelligence. So be smart, look through the hype, and see how you can use these powerful tools. We want to hear from you. What do you think of this new ZIMRA upgrade? Will you be using it in your business, or have you used it? Or what do you think of the previous one? I would love to hear from you. If you live in some of these areas with community information centers, please do share with us your experience at these places and see if they've helped you in understanding and growing in your understanding rather of digital aspect of life. And of course, finally, if you're using ChatGPT-5, what's your experience with it? I want to hear that as well. You can get in touch via WhatsApp 0772-168-045, or you can hit us up via the comment section on YouTube or on our social media platforms. Just use the hashtag AfricaTechKin. Kin is spelled K-I-N, like family, because as I often say, we're all a family and technology is what connects us. So this has been good. Follow us on all our platforms. That's at ZiFM Stereo. My name is DannythatGuy. It's been an absolute pleasure doing another week of analyzing the world of tech and talking about the news from this week's technology. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place, straight after the news on a Tuesday evening right here on ZiFM Stereo. We'll see you then. As for now, stay tuned. Current Affairs continues right here on my station, your station.
Tune in next time for Africa Tech Kin on ZiFM Stereo, discussing all things tech.